We are counting down 20 everyday foods hiding secrets most people never suspect. From sweeteners laced with fraud to snacks built with ingredients you would never willingly eat, this list escalates from quietly unsettling to genuinely disturbing. We are talking adulterated pantry staples, insect-derived coatings, animal parts lurking where you would least expect them, and one ingredient so deceptive it hides behind over 50 different names. By the end, you may never look at your grocery cart the same way. It starts with number 20, a drink most people still believe is healthy. Number 20, fruit juice pours itself onto breakfast tables everywhere as the healthy choice. A single 8-ounce glass often packs 24 grams of sugar, about 6 teaspoons, the same sugar hit as many sodas. The catch is this: even when the label says 100% juice, most products are made from concentrate. And that concentrated sugar is counted as added sugar by both FDA and the World Health Organization. The nutrition panel rarely spells it out, but that morning juice can easily blow past half your daily recommended limit for free sugars in a single serving. For something sold as pure fruit, the reality is much closer to liquid candy. Number 19. Honey lines grocery shelves as the pure, natural sweetener. Yet what is inside the jar often is not what it seems. Up to 1/3 of retail honey worldwide has been flagged in investigations for being blended with cheap syrups like rice or corn, a practice that can slip past most taste tests. Some producers even use ultrafiltration to strip out pollen, making it nearly impossible to trace the honey's origin. Regulators now rely on isotope ratio mass spectrometry and pollen analysis to unmask these fakes, but the fraud persists. That golden drizzle on your toast might be more laboratory than wildflower. Number 18. Flavored yogurt sits in the dairy aisle wrapped in a healthy image, but the truth is far less innocent. When fat is removed to create those low-fat or fat-free versions, manufacturers often add a hefty dose of sugar to make up for lost flavor and texture. A standard 6-ounce cup of fruit-flavored yogurt can hide 15 to 20 grams of added sugar, about as much as a candy bar. Labels tout real fruit and active cultures, while the nutrition panel quietly lists ingredients like fruit juice, concentrate, and cane sugar. The end result? A snack marketed as light and wholesome delivers a sugar rush most people never see coming. Number 17. Granola bars parade around as the healthy snack for busy mornings and after-school cravings. But behind the whole grain image lurks a sugar situation that rivals candy bars. A single bar often contains 14 grams of added sugar, sometimes more, hidden under names like evaporated cane juice or brown rice syrup. The ingredient list reads like a sweetener roll call, and the marketing leans hard on words such as energy and natural. Yet these bars are engineered to taste like dessert, not breakfast. Spotting the sugar means learning the code. If it sounds wholesome but ends in syrup or juice, it is just another way to say sugar. Number 16. Maple syrup commands a premium at breakfast tables, but what pours from many bottles is not what the label claims. Turning sap into real maple syrup takes nearly 40 gallons to make just 1 gallon, a labor-intensive process that drives prices sky high and tempts counterfeiters. Some so-called pure maple syrups are secretly cut with corn syrup or cane sugar, even when the front label screams authenticity. The FDA has prosecuted cases where water, coloring, and cheap sweeteners were blended in, then sold as the real thing. For shoppers paying top dollar, the difference between genuine and imitation can be nearly invisible until a lab test or federal raid reveals the fraud. Number 15. Extra virgin olive oil glistens on salads and bread as the gold standard of healthy fats. Yet behind the label, a hidden world of fraud flourishes. Studies rank olive oil among the most adulterated foods on Earth, with many bottles cut by up to 50% with cheaper seed oils such as soybean and canola. The difference is undetectable to the average shopper, but laboratories now use gas chromatography and nuclear magnetic resonance to fingerprint the chemical profile and expose these blends. Even bottles marked extra virgin may not meet true standards, as misgrading and counterfeiting slip past routine inspections. For a product prized for purity, authenticity is anything but guaranteed. Number 14. Imitation crab or surimi lines sushi rolls and seafood salads with a promise of shellfish flavor. The reality is pure engineering. Instead of crab, the main ingredient is minced white fish, often pollock, pulverized and blended with wheat or potato starch, egg whites, and a cocktail of artificial flavors and colorings. The texture that feels so much like crab leg is actually the result of mechanical shaping and binding agents, while sodium levels can soar to over 700 milligrams per serving. For anyone with fish or wheat allergies, the label is a minefield. What looks like a simple seafood treat is really a processed protein puzzle built to mimic nature but assembled in a factory. Number 13. Gelatin-based candies and glazed confections hide more animal products than most people realize. That chewy texture in gummy bears or marshmallows comes from gelatin, which is extracted by boiling the skin, bones, and connective tissue of cows or pigs. The glossy shine on jelly beans or fruit snacks is not just sugar, it is often shellac, a resin secreted by lac bugs raised in India and Thailand. That bright red color in many candies is carmine, made from crushed cochineal insects harvested in Peru. For vegans and vegetarians, and anyone with religious dietary rules, these ingredients turn an innocent treat into a minefield of hidden animal sources, all lurking behind cheerful packaging and sweet flavors. Number 12. Frozen chicken nuggets promise a quick fix for busy nights, but the ingredient list tells a different story. Instead of just chicken, these nuggets are engineered with an average of 10 or more additives per product. Sodium tripolyphosphate, a common phosphate salt, is added not for flavor but to lock in water and boost weight, making each bite juicier while stretching the meat further. Fillers like modified starch and soy protein bulk up the texture, and a parade of stabilizers, preservatives, and flavor enhancers keep the nuggets uniform and shelf-stable. For something that looks like simple poultry, the reality is a processed blend, one that owes more to chemistry than the farm. Number 11. Instant noodles and cup soups are the poster children for ultra-processed convenience, but their ingredient lists read more like chemistry sets than pantry staples. The seasoning packet alone can pack 1,000 milligrams of sodium in a single serving, nearly half a day's recommended limit. Hidden inside are flavor enhancers like monosodium glutamate, plus a growing roster of artificial colors and preservatives. In fact, nearly 3 out of 4 grain-based products sold in stores now contain at least one additive, a trend that is only accelerating. The next time a steaming cup of noodles seems like a simple comfort, it is worth remembering just how much science has been engineered into every bite. Number 10. Refined vegetable and seed oils like canola, soybean, and sunflower are sold as heart-healthy staples, but their journey from seed to bottle is anything but simple. The process starts with degumming, where acids strip out natural gums, followed by neutralization with lye to remove free fatty acids. Next comes bleaching, which pulls out color and trace metals, and finally high-heat deodorization at up to 260 degrees Celsius erases odors, and with them, most of the oil's natural antioxidants. What's left is a shelf-stable, flavorless fat, but also a product with 60 to 90% fewer tocopherols and phenols than the original seed. These oils are loaded with omega-6 fatty acids, sometimes 100 times more than omega-3 fatty acids, tilting the balance in a way the body never evolved to handle. For something marketed as clean and healthy, the reality is a chemical transformation few home cooks would ever recognize. Number 9. Ketchup sits innocently on dinner tables and lunch trays, but its real story is all about stealth sugars. The ingredient list often places high fructose corn syrup or sugar concentrate among the top 3 components. even before you get to the tomatoes. It is not just one squirt. Most people use far more than the listed tablespoon serving, especially with fries or burgers, multiplying the sugar hit before they even realize it. A few spoonfuls can add up to more sugar than a cookie, all disguised under names like corn syrup or fruit concentrate. Decoding the label reveals just how easy it is to blow past daily sugar limits, not with dessert, but with the condiments meant to flavor your meal. Eighth place, low-fat salad dressings lure shoppers with promises of guilt-free flavor, but the real story is in the reformulation. When manufacturers strip out the fat, they do not just leave the bottle emptier, they fill the gap with sugar, salt, and a chemistry set of stabilizers. A typical 2-tablespoon serving can sneak in 7 grams of sugar and 300 milligrams of sodium, turning a so-called healthy choice into a sweet and salty trap. To keep that creamy texture without oil, additives like xanthan gum and sodium alginate step in, binding water and thickening every pore. The label's light badge distracts from the fact that you are swapping fat for sugar and emulsifiers, not cutting calories. For many, that drizzle over greens is less about health and more about marketing, proof that even the simplest condiments can rewrite the rules of what is really in your salad bowl. Number 7. Fruit snacks and roll-ups fill lunchboxes with promises of real fruit, but the reality is a far cry from the orchard. Most of these chewy treats are built on fruit juice concentrate stripped of fiber, loaded with sugar, and often topping the ingredient list. A single pouch can pack 12 grams of added sugars, rivaling the sweetness of candy. The words "made with real fruit" mask the fact that what gives these snacks their bounce is not fruit at all, but pectin or gelatin, texture agents that create that familiar gummy chew. Bright packaging and cartoon mascots target kids directly, promoting a health halo that does not hold up under scrutiny. For parents, the label audit reveals a sugar bomb disguised as a wholesome snack, engineered more for shelf appeal than nutrition. Number 6. Chocolate bars and glossy candies seem like simple pleasures, but their smooth texture and perfect shine are feats of chemistry, not tradition. Nearly every chocolate treat contains soy lecithin, an emulsifier that keeps cocoa butter from separating, and it also ranks among the top 8 allergens. The hard, mirror-like shell on many candies comes from shellac, a resin secreted by lac bugs harvested in Southeast Asia, listed as confectioner's glaze, but rarely explained. And then there is the catch-all natural flavors label, a phrase that can legally hide dozens of ingredients, both plant and animal-derived, none of which have to be named unless they are major allergens. For anyone scanning labels, these terms blur the line between food and processed product, leaving most consumers in the dark about what is actually melting in their mouth. Number 5. Packaged snack chips pull a classic sleight of hand with their nutrition labels. Bags shout zero trans fat, but the truth is buried in the fine print of FDA regulations. Under current rules, any product with less than half a gram of trans fat per serving can legally round down to 0. That means a single ounce of chips, what the label calls one serving, can still contain up to 0.49 grams of trans fat, and you would never know. Eat a few handfuls, and those trace amounts quietly add up, especially since most people eat 2 or 3 servings without blinking. Lab tests have found major brands like Lay's and Pringles clocking in at nearly half a gram per serving, all while wearing the 0 grams badge. The real trick is this: manufacturers shrink serving sizes to keep those numbers low, exploiting a loophole that keeps the full story off the bag. For anyone who trusts the front label, the real math is hiding in plain sight. Number 4. White bread stands as a daily staple, yet its soft, stretchy texture hides a secret ingredient few expect. L-cysteine, a dough conditioner prized for making loaves pliable and extending shelf life, does not come from a lab or a plant. Instead, it is often extracted from human hair or duck feathers, with with China supplying up to 80% of the global feather stock. Chemically, L-cysteine breaks down gluten strands, allowing industrial bakeries to pump out perfectly uniform slices at lightning speed. Most shoppers never realize that a sandwich, a burger bun, or a supermarket loaf may owe its fluffiness to keratin scraped from slaughterhouse waste or swept from barbershop floors. For anyone assuming bread is just flour, yeast, and water, the reality is a global supply chain that transforms animal byproducts into the backbone of everyday meals. Number 3. Protein powders and dietary supplements crowd the health aisle with promises of purity and performance, but what is inside those capsules and tubs is rarely as straightforward as the label suggests. Most soft gel capsules are made from gelatin, rendered from cow or pig bones and skin, posing a problem for vegans, vegetarians, and anyone with religious dietary restrictions. Even seemingly plant-based options are not immune. Vitamin D3, a staple in many multivitamins, is often sourced from lanolin, the waxy grease washed from sheep's wool. Whey protein, a favorite among fitness enthusiasts, is a byproduct of the dairy industry, not a plant-based protein. The ingredient list rarely spells out these origins, leaving consumers guessing. For anyone assuming a supplement is just vitamins and minerals, the reality is a hidden world of animal byproducts packaged as health, but rooted in the rendering plant. In second place, processed meats like bacon and hot dogs carry a hidden risk that goes far beyond the salt and fat most people expect. These staples are preserved with nitrites and nitrates, additives that keep meat pink and safe from bacteria, but also set the stage for something far more dangerous. When nitrites mix with proteins, especially under heat or in the acidic environment of the stomach, they form N-nitroso compounds, chemicals known to damage DNA and trigger cancer. In 2015, the International Agency for Research on Cancer, part of the World Health Organization, classified processed meat as Group 1 carcinogen, placing it in the same category as tobacco and asbestos for its link to colorectal cancer. Just a daily serving of 50 grams, about 2 slices of bacon or 1 hot dog, raises cancer risk by 18%. The nitrite cure that gives processed meats their signature taste and color is the very thing that makes them so dangerous. That fact rarely appears on the label, and it is almost never discussed at the breakfast table. And finally, in first place, refined table sugar hides in plain sight, weaving through nearly every food on supermarket shelves. It is not just the white crystals in the sugar bowl. Sucrose, dextrose, maltose, invert sugar, corn syrup, high fructose corn syrup, and over 50 more aliases line ingredient lists, sometimes several in a single product. The World Health Organization urges keeping free sugar intake under 50 grams per day, about 12 teaspoons. Yet most people unknowingly exceed this limit before lunchtime. More than 70% of packaged foods now contain some form of added sugar, whether it is ketchup, bread, yogurt, or even so-called healthy snacks. Labels rarely call it sugar outright. Instead, manufacturers use a rotating cast of names to disguise just how sweetened our food supply has become. That bowl of cereal, the sandwich bread, the salad dressing, all may deliver a sugar hit, even if you never taste it. The impact is systemic. Hidden sugars drive rates of obesity, diabetes, and heart disease, while fueling cravings that make processed foods nearly impossible to resist. This is not a single ingredient issue. It is a pattern that links nearly every item on this list. The real shock is not just how much sugar we eat, but how skillfully it is concealed, reshaping what we think of as normal food. Spotting it means learning a new language, one that turns the simple act of eating into a daily puzzle. The choice to look closer, to question what is really inside, starts with recognizing sugar's many faces and deciding if you want to keep playing the game. Across all 20 foods, one unsettling pattern stands out. What looks familiar often hides a world of hidden secrets. Ingredients you would never suspect, processes you would never imagine. These are not rare exceptions. They are the rule. In a world where routine meals mask hidden realities, the real shock is how little we truly know about what we eat. How well do you really know your next bite?